What's up, guys? Checking in with the shiny dome here. Shaved it yesterday. Feels so good, so free. In this video, I want to talk about the reason for doing things. Now, we all have different reasons for doing the things that we're pouring most of our time into. And for some of us, those reasons don't feel so soulful. They don't feel central to our heart. It's like we're doing things for other people's reasons. We're doing things because we think we should. We're doing things from a sense of obligation. We're doing things from a sense of needing to prove worth. And it's been my experience that whenever I've done something from that place, it's either taken a tremendous amount of willpower and almost wasted effort to keep it going, and I've kept it going, but it's had a detrimental effect on my life over time because it's actually eroded my own sense of self and character. It's kind of confused my inner world, and it's like muffled my inner compass, and forcing that thing that I don't really feel my whole heart is in has then made it confusing for me to even remember what matters. Like, who am I? What do I actually care about? So when I've pursued things that I've loved out of interest or curiosity, because that's usually how it starts, or maybe there's this moment of inspiration, a certain romance, like seeing a particular bicycle and being like, oh wow, that has just this beautiful frame and geometry, and it just looks so aggressive and it looks so cool. Seeing something that just lights this fire, that's where the interest and the curiosity comes from, that then makes it so natural to pour in hours and hours and hours, and to just spend day after day hammering away, sometimes not even like enjoying it, but still like really enjoying it. I recently bought a bicycle, a fixie, fixed gear bicycle, which is one that has no gears and the wheels keep turning if the pedals are turning, so they're locked together, there's no coasting, and also no brakes. And this bike is so sexy. It is not the bike which makes the most sense. It's not the one that has the, Bluetooth gear system, can go up and down all these hills, new, made by the more modern brand. No. It's the one that made me want to ride the most. It's the one that inspired me the most. And in your life, there are things which don't make sense on that practical level, but they do make sense to your senses, to your heart. There is a certain emotion in them. And my advice to you is to be careful in smothering that, or in speaking over the top of that with what you imagine to be more logical or practical self-talk. Don't smother that interest. Don't smother that heart. Don't smother that little spark, because it's often the thing which is the beginning of something great. But for things to become great from such a small seed, there has to be a lot of fire and beauty and romance in that seed. There has to be a certain passion. It was the same for me when I started playing soccer, football. David Beckham. So I was born in 1995, so I got to see a lot of David Beckham's career. And I was just so inspired. His style, the way he would approach the free kick, I would replicate it. I would really do my best to kick like Beckham, to bend it like Beckham, one of how many other million kids who wanted to do that. But it didn't matter. I was not focused on those other kids. I just wanted to be captain of England one day. And so I spent my time acting as such. I didn't think about other people's ideas of how real or practical that was. I just acted as such. I was in the backyard as soon as I could be, hitting the crossbar again and again and again and again, or going for a top left or top right again and again and again for fucking hours. No one had to tell me to. I just loved it. I just wanted to, right? And then what happens is these other things come in. These other opportunities, these other offers, these other layers of thought. And sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's colleagues, sometimes it's partners, sometimes it's business opportunities. And they come in and say, oh, how about you do blah, blah, blah. And so that sacred space of practice and of passion and of romance between you and the thing that you love can become a little bit diluted or complicated by the presence of other voices and other things. So it's important to be open to new curiosities and to invite in some change and to keep following the romance wherever it leads and to be open to that. But it's also important to protect the sacredness, the sanctity of that space, that practice, that thing that you love. And part of what keeps it sacred is that it is just for you. It's your dream. It's your process. And so even if you were going to one day make a business, let's say, out of a passion, which is the Western thing to do, right? That's like the peak in the Western capitalist culture. That's the peak achievement, to be able to turn a passion into a profit-making machine. It would be very, very important if you did that you would do that in a way which retained the integrity of your passion and your love for the thing and all of the reasons why it made sense, and to not allow the marketing speak, to not allow the cultural encouragement to profiteer and the cultural desperation to profiteer to come over and ruin that thing. Don't sell out. Don't sell out. That's what I'm saying. Not selling out is not the same thing as not making it a business. You can make something a business and still not sell out. Now, there's this other perspective which is quite radical and quite difficult in the modern day, and that is to turn profit into passion. A lot of people who've made a lot of profit and who've worked a lot in their lives get to a point where they realize that some passion is missing, and they want to buy nice things. They want to have nice things, and they want to go on adventures and fill their life with experiences. And I really understand this because I can see this in myself. But passion is more than just filling life with fun experiences. Passion is more than just having the money to buy another bike, another surfboard, another car. Passion is more like that place where everything else is just forgotten and disappears, and where there's just so much engagement with the task or the activity. That's the romance I'm talking about. That's the essence. That's the nucleus. That's the beauty. If you've spent so much of your life doing things for the right reasons, but they weren't your reasons, then you might get to that point where you're seeking the passion, but the passion is gone, the flame is gone, or the flame is like dwindled so much that you don't even remember what is desirable. So the passion, what I'm getting at is that the passion is not just having things, buying things, consuming things. It is creating something by being invested in a particular practice or way of being. It is to dive into that portal, that rabbit hole of this wonderful way of living that maybe no one else on the planet or in the universe understands, but that place where you are able to nourish and sustain your soul through the engagement with this thing that you're so curious about. That is a practice. It is a cultivation. It is not something based on having the best thing. Whereas there is a certain passion which can incentivize connection. Oh, what a beautiful bike. I want to have that bike. I want to ride that bike. I imagine myself doing cool things on that bike, going places. Whilst that is true, there is also something wonderfully sentimental and powerful in making the very best of what one has. And there can be something of a dilution in taking that passion energy and jumping ahead too fast and overextending oneself into having the best shit but then not even being passionate enough to use that stuff. And then 6 months later, it's being sold. Could be art supplies we're talking about. It could be a relationship we're talking about. You could be chasing women. You could be chasing men if you're a woman. You could be chasing anything, and then the chasing becomes bigger than the immersion in the breath by breath romance of actually fulfilling and consummating that process. So I thought this was important to share, because if we can maintain this fire, this passion, this joy, this love to do things because they're curious, because they're interesting, because they're beautiful, because they appeal to us as individuals, then we don't need to always be doing things to get away from pain, or always talking about the pain point, or oh, I just don't want that. It's just so annoying that this, and so I'd rather have that, blah, blah, blah. Just forget all that talk. Just go for what's fun. Do things because they're fun. Do things because you can. There is no better reason. Not everything needs to solve an obvious problem in your life. Some things come into your life to be embraced and to surprise you, and only in hindsight will you realize how they were helping and what they were for. And it might not be what you expect, but you should still be open. All right. That's it.